Very happy Felix Day as the Mariners wrap up the series against the Arizona Diamondbacks to end the homestand. This should be a fun one today, as it is a Mariners matinee, and it could not be more perfect here from downtown Seattle inside Safeco Field. Glad you could join us. Eric Goldsmith, Mike Flowers, and our entire Root Sports crew as we take a look now, Mike, at the Arizona Diamondbacks starting lineups for today.
Yeah, they've scored a lot of runs. Second in the National League in runs scored. Inciarte hit a home run yesterday. He will lead things off. Pollock hitting second. 23 stolen bases for him. Then it's Goldschmidt. We've talked a lot about him. Peralta with a night last night. 3 hits last night for Peralta. Castillo back in the lineup, had last night off. Jake Lamb, nice homecoming for him so far. He will bat 6th. Tomas, Owings, and Pennington round out the 9 for the Diamondbacks. And for Felix on the year, looking for his 13th win, 12-5 overall, a 2.69 ERA in 103rd innings. Felix 124 strikeouts, only 39 walks. Opponents hitting just 215 against Felix. Take a look at the defense, brought to you by American Family Insurance. Gutierrez getting the start in left. Jackson out in center. Nelson Cruz is in right. Kyle Seager at third. Taylor at shortstop. Brad Miller getting a chance to play second base today. Cano out of the lineup. Logan Morrison had last night off, back in the lineup at first base, and Jesus Sucre will do the catching. And for Felix, he's really been on a pretty good run, and they need him to get deep into this ball game. We've talked a lot about the bullpen and where they're at, but you take a look at his outing Friday against the Blue Jays. 7 innings pitched, 6 hits, 1 earned run in that one. Walked 1 batter, had 7 strikeouts through 100 pitches.
And not an easy Blue Jays lineup to navigate through. As you can see, Kings Court filling up. Best cheering section in baseball, if maybe not in any sport. So here is Felix to face Inciarte, the right fielder, to begin things for the Diamondbacks. Inciarte batting just a little bit beneath 300, and he's been an impressive player these first 2 games.
We've had an opportunity to watch him, and you're right, he has. Just 2 for 10 in the series. Had a home run yesterday, but a couple of things about this guy. A little bit of pop in his bat, and he can really run.
Picks up his 3rd hit of the series here. Inciarte, second pitch, a single.
And we'll take a look at this last pitch. It'll be up in the zone. Looks like it's running towards the outside corner, but yeah, you can see it belt high. That's the diving Taylor.
74 degrees at first pitch here today. Just a little bit of a gentle breeze. Pollock on the first pitch, a fair ball. Inciarte making the turn on to third. Now get the stop sign there as Pollock stands up at second. And right away the Diamondbacks threatening.
We'll take a look at it. This will be on a first pitch fastball. Felix trying to get it in on his hands again. It's elevated a little bit, but it will run inside as you look at our Alaska Airlines Supermo and the swing by Pollock. Talented center fielder for the Diamondbacks, and we've seen this before against Felix. They're being very aggressive. Second pitch for Inciarte, and now Pollock on the first pitch.
That's not a surprise.
And with nobody out, they're going to play the infield back. Logan Morrison even with the bag at first, but everybody is playing back, so a ground ball will score a run.
Towards the corner, right field. Cruz a long run. And a foul ball.
And first pitch swinging again. First pitch fastball for Felix. One of the things we've seen him do this year with clubs that have been aggressive is he'll change up. He'll use his curveball a little bit more. We'll see him go to his slider early in counts to try to steal a strike.
Rick Waite's looking on. Inciarte the single, Pollock the double. Second and third base, nobody out for the Diamondbacks early. Now you look at this matchup between Felix and Goldschmidt, and you kind of feel like you're watching the All-Star game.
Good point.
When else would these two match up, if not for every few years?
Look at the numbers for Goldschmidt. Having a good series, 3 for 7 with a home run, but overall 347, 22 home runs, and 75 RBIs.
2 strikes against Goldschmidt. Sucre doing the catching today. Nobody out, 2 on, and the 1-2. Line left field, base hit. Diamondbacks the early lead. And Ciarte now right behind him. Pollock, and Pollock slides in safely as Goldschmidt winds up at second. So without getting it out, the Diamondbacks already have 2 across. And this has been a theme of this series early. They have scored in the first inning each time.
And this is on the changeup. Again, it's up a little bit. Felix having a tough time here in the first inning getting the ball down. Typically with his changeup, he'll try to bounce it in a 1-2 count. That one was about mid-thigh as Goldschmidt lines it into left field. 77 RBIs for Goldschmidt now.
It's a single for Goldschmidt into second base. On the throw is Peralta. Gets strike 1.
Felix starting to change up. That was his changeup right there on the first pitch. Peralta swinging at it.
And 0-2.
Comes back with a breaking ball.
Kings score ready with an 0-2 count. Long look in from Felix. And the 0-2.
Felix's best fastball so far at 94 miles an hour. This year he's averaged 92 miles an hour on his fastball. I think the interesting thing is we've seen him throw his curveball more, especially in the month of July, but even overall during the season, his curveball usage is up this year. And there's the curveball.
And it gets him his first strikeout. 1 out for the Diamondbacks. Goldschmidt has to stay put.
And we'll take a look at the breaking ball from Felix. 81 miles an hour, 12-6 curveball. It has been a really good pitch for him this year. The league hitting just 110 against this curveball. Felix picks his first strikeout out up on the curveball right there. And I think they were going to see that pitch a lot today, especially with as aggressive as Arizona is being here in the first inning.
Now facing Castillo. Did not play last night. You see the elbow guard there was hit in the final innings of game 1 by Carson Smith. And you think about Felix, Mike, this is the Kings' 11th season of the big leagues and continuing to evolve. And it seems like this year the biggest evolution for Felix has been that curveball. And you mentioned the numbers, the league hitting against it, but just even more so than that, just the amount of use that Felix has been able to give that pitch and how effective it's been.
No, you're absolutely right. If you go back to 2014, he threw his curveball just 16% of the time. He basically used his fastball and changeup, an occasional slider. In his last outing against the Blue Jays, we showed the numbers, they were really good. His curveball usage was at 23%, so that's a pretty good jump for him.
Castillo belts it to left. Goody at the track. There it goes. And the Diamondbacks lead it 4-0.
Well, that was on his fastball. 93 miles an hour. And again, belt high and in the middle of the plate. We'll take a look at the location, and you can see Sucre set up on the outside corner. That pitch ran right back in the middle of the plate. Certainly something we're not used to seeing with Felix on the mound. And I think the biggest thing is a lot of pitches up in the zone. Typically for Felix, he's down getting a lot of ground ball outs. That's not happening for him here in the first.
Brings in Lamb. Now you consider that for Felix's last 5 starts, he had combined to allow 4 earned runs. And the Diamondbacks have hung a 4 spot here this first inning. In fact, Felix's ERA in those 5 starts, as you can imagine, barely over 1. He's ahead of Lamb 0-2. And he gets him on 3 pitches. And you can see where this start ranks in Mariners history as it pushes the King past Jamie Moyer, a Mariners Hall of Famer, going in on August 8th here at Safeco Field. So most starts in franchise history. And he is 29 years old. Turned 29 in April. Osmani Tomas, 0-1.
And again, Aaron, a fastball 93 miles an hour, but it's up in the zone. You can see Tomas very aggressive with his swing.
Has him 0-2 the curveball that time.
Here in the first, his curveball has been his best pitch.
Felix is 0-2 on the way. Makes it 1-2. Tomas batting a little bit under 300 on the season. And he gets a chance to DH today inside of an American League ballpark. Spent some time at third in the outfield as well. That's where he is usually. Close, but 2-2. And we mentioned it the last couple of games entering this series. The Diamondbacks third in the league in average and runs. This is not a team to be taken lightly. As Felix strikes out the side, but 4 runs in for the Diamondbacks through a 1/2 inning. They go to the bottom of the first. Mariners coming up. Been making only his 5th start of the season. Made a couple of rehab starts in the minors coming off of Tommy John surgery. And we'll take a look now at Lloyd's lineup for today, Mike.
Yes, a really good left-hander today. Today's starting lineup is brought to you by Chevron. Austin Jackson going to lead things off. Then it is Seager. Cruz leads the American League with a .378 batting average against lefties. Hopefully that will continue today. Franklin Gutierrez will bat cleanup for the first time for the Mariners. Then it is Trumbo, the DH, hitting 5th. Miller playing second base, batting 6th. Morrison, Sucre, and Taylor round out the 9 for the Mariners.
Mariners lineup looking a little different today, and a big reason why. No Robinson Cano. And when you saw the lineup early today and you figured the time of the game, the 12:40 start time, you thought, well, maybe just a day off for Robbie. But Lloyd's saying today that it's a little bit more serious than that. An abdominal strain for Cano, who played through it yesterday and is having an MRI today. And hopefully nothing too serious for Robbie. And he wanted to play today, but using some wisdom, the coaching staff and training staff wanted to see exactly what's going on with Robbie.
Well, and with the way that he's been swinging the bat, you want to get him healthy as soon as possible. So I think that's probably the best move. Find out exactly what it is that's going on. Give him some treatment. Hopefully it'll just be a couple of days. We'll see.
What said as of right now, he is day to day. He heard it when playing in the field, not at the plate. Two balls and 2 strikes to Jackson, beginning the Mariners' first inning. Down on strikes. 94-mile-an-hour fastball for the lefty Corbin. Take a look at what he's done so far this season.
Again, this is just his 5th start, a 3.68 ERA for him in 22 innings, or excuse me, 23 strikeouts in 22 innings, just 3 walks for him. He likes his fastball. He'll throw it a lot in his fastball. Going to be about 93 miles an hour as we look at the defense for the Diamondbacks. Peralta in left, Pollock in center. Inciarte out in right, Lamb at third, Pennington and Owings playing up the middle, Goldschmidt at first, and Castillo doing the catching. But his best off-speed pitch is his slider, and he will use it to get his strikeouts. Really tough on left-handers with his slider.
Time called by Seager. Quickly 0-2.
And that was a good slider just off the outside corner. For Corbin, about 70% of his pitches are going to be his fastball. Also mix in a changeup, but he rarely uses it.
Just ask Tom Hallian if that was strike 3. He'll tell you. The chainsaw Tom Hallian now in his 23rd year as a major league umpire.
Our Alaska Airlines Supermo looking at Tom Hallian.
That's some impressive torque.
Pretty good turn. I think with that motion he could start up a chainsaw with that.
A couple of early strikeouts for Corbin. Now facing Cruz. Mike, it's strange to see a starting pitcher, as you mentioned, rarely throws his changeup. So here he is. He's got a dominating fastball, a dominating slider, and from his limited time in the big leagues, he's had a little over 50 starts in his young career. It seems like that has been enough.
Well, so far it has been, and again, I think it comes down to one. He has a good fastball. The fastball to Kyle Seager, even though it was off the plate, I don't blame Kyle for being upset with the call. 95 miles an hour. That's a good fastball. And then you look at his slider and what the league, and it's brief. It's only his 5th start, but what the league has hit off of it this year is nothing. And 0.77, really, until they start making adjustments to him, Aaron. Why would you go to anything else?
That's fair. Cruz behind of the count. Corbin missing all of last season with Tommy John. He left his final spring training start in Arizona with elbow discomfort. He was scheduled to be the Diamondbacks opening day starter. You might remember they played that series in Australia against the Dodgers. As with 2 outs, Cruz up the middle for a base hit.
Talked about it with Cruz. He's the top hitter average-wise against left-handers in the American League. The start of today, 378 average. So that number goes up.
That brings in Franklin Gutierrez batting cleanup today. Diamondbacks got 4 runs early off of Felix in the top of this first inning, including a 2-run Wellington Castillo homer. Goody has come up big for the Mariners recently. Had the grand slam at Detroit, and what was a wild game. Had the walk-off home run to left center field, deep left center field, against the Blue Jays on Sunday. Up the middle, taken there, Pennington, and an easy flip on to Owings. A man left for the Mariners as we're through an inning of play, and the Diamondbacks have the lead. Paul Goldschmidt.
Well, you'd like to face him without anybody on. Unfortunately, Felix back-to-back hits to start the game, and both runners score on that base hit by Goldschmidt. And then Castillo with Goldschmidt at second base. He homers. His 9th home run on the year, and 4 quick runs for the Diamondbacks in the first.
4 runs, 4 hits early on for Arizona. And it's Chris Owings, the number 8 hitting second baseman, to begin things for the Diamondbacks. He lines this to left.
First pitch fastball. Again, they were very aggressive in the first inning, and we're seeing it again here. First pitch fastball to Owings as he gets a base hit. And we'll take a look at it. Fastball in the middle of the plate at 92 miles an hour.
Leadoff man reaches for Pennington, the shortstop. Longtime veteran. And Mike, it's interesting. We've talked about how the Diamondbacks haven't seen Felix since 2009, but you look inside their dugout and they have somebody who has seen a lot of Felix, and that's their first-year manager, Chip Hale. Hale, the bench coach for Bob Melvin in Oakland for a handful of years before taking the job this season in Arizona. So he's very familiar with what Felix can do. There goes Owens, throw to second, tag, and they got him. Now you can't doubt the arm strength of Sucre.
Pretty quick feed on this one too, as you take a look at Sucre.
Now Owens is still standing at second base, and here is Chip Hale, and he wants to take a look at this.
but a strong throw from Sucre. Quick feet. You can see Owings, he thought he was safe. And we'll take another look at the tag by Taylor.
Have to focus on the knee of Owings. And that left foot.
I think they may tell you, I don't blame him for taking a look at it. It looked as if his foot was in there by the time Taylor put the tag on him, which was up around his knee. But you're right. Chip Hale spent a lot of time with Bob Melvin, and what we've seen over the years from the A's is early on they tried to be very patient with Felix, and I think more than anything trying to get his pitch count up. That didn't work, and then they became very aggressive against him, and that's typically the way the A's are going to go after him. And Chip Hale sitting on the bench in Oakland for a lot of years with Bob Melvin. Apparently that is their game plan today, because they've been really aggressive first time through the lineup, especially on his fastball.
The fear when facing Felix is you don't want to get to 2 strikes because of what he can, how easily he can dispose of you when he gets you 0-2 or 1-2.
Well, and the other part about it too, I think in that first inning, if you look back at it, because of his changeup and the way that, taking another look at this tag, almost looks as if he tagged him on his right knee, missed his left knee where his arm hit, but his glove maybe hit his right knee. But all those pitches were elevated. And I think that is another part to the scenario, is try to look for something up in the zone. We'll take another look. Ball's there in plenty of time. I think he ended up tagging him on the right knee, but it's hard to tell from that angle if his foot was in there before the tag.
And remember, it goes to the Mariners' favor that he was originally ruled out. So now the umpires have to find clear and convincing evidence to overturn this call. And they're taking some time, though. It's tough to tell. Very close. Now here we go. And they got him. So the call stands. And that's yet another example of how critical that initial call is and how much of a difference that can make, because how many times do we see replay where you could look at it for an hour and you must still not be able to, might not be able to know,
or you think something differently depending on how the angles are.
Yep, good point. 0-2 now on Pennington. Felix with 3 early strikeouts. Pennington's first at bat this year, hitting a little bit beneath 240 on the season. And Felix gets his 4th. So leadoff single wiped away on a caught stealing. Now a strikeout to Pennington. 2 outs.
He gets the strikeout on the curveball again. We'll take a look at the curveball. It's 12-6. You'll see his hand come right over the top of the baseball and the spin of it. And I think here in the early going, that has been his best pitch, the curveball. I think because of the rotation on his curveball, a little bit easier for him to get that down in the zone.
First pitch curved to Inciarte for a strike. And the 0-1. Quickly 0-2. And Felix could use a pretty quick, clean second inning after facing 7 Diamondbacks hitters in the first.
Felix's game that he's really improved at is he can have an inning like the first where he's thrown 22 pitches, but he can be efficient for 3 or 4 innings in a row to get his pitch count back in pretty good shape and manageable shape.
Trying to do that here in the second. Cincinnati stays alive. A changeup cannot be fun to face for the first time. Felix all set to go to do it again. Once again, the 2-2. And right there to Miller. Easy play. And the side retired in order by Felix despite a leadoff single by Owings. And we're through an inning and a half. Out of the bottom of the second. Moyer and induct him into the Mariners Hall of Fame. It all takes place Saturday, August 8th, right here at Safeco Field. Be sure to arrive early to enjoy a special pregame ceremony beginning at 12:30. Visit Mariners.com for tickets. Rangers will be in town. First pitch, stung left field. Trumbo back by the pole, but a foul ball. Now Trumbo since July 4th batting close to 350 and OPS of over 900. It's been good to see.
Well, and he was also paying attention. A lot of fastballs from Corbin, and you can read that in the scouting report, see it in the video from him, and you can certainly see it in the first inning. And he was aggressive on a first pitch fastball. Unfortunately, it was just foul.
Behind 0-2 as we take another look at how close this was. Nice catch. Mariners offense this month has been one of the best in baseball, 6th in the majors in runs scored. And they have tied for the most home runs in the game in the month of July. Down on strikes. Well, how about we take a look now at our CenturyLink What's Next, what's coming up when we get to the Twin Cities. Happ, Walker, Montgomery, Iwakuma, and Phil Hughes, who's just been the ultimate command pitcher going back to last year. Absolutely historic. Tommy Malone, the former Oakland A. Kyle Gibson having a fine year. He and Pelfrey, two of the best ground ball pitchers in baseball this season. Miller steps in with 1 out, and it's 0-1. Three early strikeouts for Corbin.
Brad had a good night last night. 2 for 3 last night. Scored a run, drove in a run, had a double.
A lift to shallow right field. And Ciarte there for out number 2. And with 2 outs, nobody on, that brings in Logan Morrison. Now Logan is a guy, Mike, that we saw last year be really the most clutch hitter down the stretch for the Mariners. It seemed like one hit after another was bigger than the next. And right now Logan trying kind of get things turned around a little bit, batting .223, a dozen homers, 35 runs batted in. You can see the numbers there. And we know what Lomo can do when he really gets hot.
Well, you're right. And I was talking to Logan yesterday, just asking him what's been going on as of late, some of his struggles, and he talked about his stride a little bit. He said it's all started with the way that he gets loaded up to swing the bat, and basically his shift backwards is getting too far and it's causing his stride to get too long. And typically when that happens, Aaron, a lot of these guys, when they take their stride, they want to be really soft. They talk about, you know, stepping on an egg, and so the reason why they do that is so that their head doesn't move around on him. And Logan feels that he's basically stomping his foot down, and because of that, his head's moving a little bit, and that's why we're seeing him getting jammed a little bit. And so he's aware of what's happening. He's just trying to fix it. So many times when you do that, and if your head is moving around on you, it's going to speed things up, and that's typically why you're going to see the ball get in on your hands. And we'll take a look at this last swing. This is a breaking ball. Pitches down out of the strike zone. Fortunate that he gets a piece of it.
And Lomo strikes out. Off-speed pitch there as Corbin retires the side in order, has 4 strikeouts through 2 innings. brought to you by Silver Reef Hotel Casino Spa, I-5, exit 260, Ferndale, Washington. And by BNSF Railway, sponsor of the BNSF Blast. Picture perfect day at Safeco Field, the final game of the series and the homestand. It's off to Target Field after this to take on the Twins for 4 games. Mariners matinee and a nice crowd on hand today. Pollock leading off the third. And really, you think about how taxing that first inning was for Felix when he faced 7 batters and the Diamondbacks got 4 runs and 4 hits. Mike, you were mentioning how quickly the Diamondbacks hitters were attacking Felix. Only 14 pitches in that first inning for Felix, so it wasn't quite that bad as he shoots this out to center. Pollock out to his counterpart. That brings in Goldschmidt.
I've talked about it many times with Felix that is going to be the way as a team effort is going to be to attack him early in the count and get after it. You better do some damage with it. Otherwise, you run the risk of him being out there for 9 innings, and then that's the risk that you take. You mentioned teams don't want to be patient against him because if he gets 2 strikes, he's typically going to put you away, and that is true.
Goldschmidt to Taylor for out number 2. Well, to say thanks for their service, the Mariners and EQC are offering 10% off select main, terrace, or view level seats to U.S. Armed Forces members at nearly all home games. Present your military ID at the Safeco Field box office to receive your EQC military discount. 2 very quick outs for Felix in the top of the third. Now looking at Peralta. Kingsford has had 4 strikeouts to cheer about so far.
And you can see Felix now mixing in his breaking ball and changeup early in the count. Typically will make an adjustment quickly, and that's what he's done. He started doing that in the 2nd inning.
Balls and a strike. Peralta struck out on a curve from Felix. His first punch out in this one today. That was back in the 1st inning.
And a better changeup from him, 88 miles an hour, just below the strike zone. Arizona able to get a couple of hits in the 1st inning on his changeup, but they were elevated changeups, so he looks as if he's starting to work down.
Felix is 2-2. Strike 3 called. He gets him with the heat. And that is already 5 strikeouts over the first 3 innings for Felix. We begin things in the bottom of the third inning. Diamondbacks 4 runs in the first. That's been all the run scoring so far today. And Sucre makes contact with the first pitch, and it's tracked down by Pollock. Well, Mariners fans, Pizza Hut's Cheesy Bites Pizza is back, but only for a limited time. Enjoy your favorite topping on the original crust, or try a new flavor for just $11.99 each. Visit pizzahut.com to order now. Brought to you by your locally owned Pizza Hut. Very quick out, number 1 for Corbin, now facing Taylor, batting 9th. And Taylor stands to get some more playing time until Lloyd and the training staff gets a better read as to what will happen in the near future with Robinson Cano and the abdominal strain.
And we were talking about that earlier, Aaron, and with the way that Cano has been swinging the bat for the better part of a month now. Hopefully it's just a day or two and they can get him back in the lineup. We're talking about the offensive numbers for the Mariners in the month of July, and Cano a big part of that.
And he's been huge. Cano, an 8-game hitting streak that was snapped last night. He didn't reach base. He walked in the 4th inning. But 7 home runs this month for Cano. When you think about the home run numbers in July for the Mariners, 33 homers this month. No team has more. The Tigers and the Angels are tied with the Mariners for the most home runs in the majors this month. This gets a piece back to the glove of Castillo, and Taylor is out, number 2. So both starters with 5 strikeouts early on.
Patrick Corbin is locked in right now. 34 pitches, 26 strikes, 9 batters faced, 8 first pitch strikes, and he's doing it primarily early in the count with his fastball. We've seen a few changeups from using his slider a little bit more than that, but a lot of fastballs so far, and he has a good one. He's topped out at 95.
And Corbin was originally a 2nd-round draft pick in 09 by the Angels, but then the next year was traded over to Arizona with Joe Saunders and Tyler Skaggs in the Dan Herron deal. 1 ball and 1 strike to Jackson. But an all-star back in 2013 with 14 and 8, an ERA of just under 3.5. Two outs, nobody on. And we have hardly seen a 2-ball count so far today from Corbin. That's only the 3rd. Up the middle, but Owings is there to snatch it up. And the side sat down in order for the 2nd straight inning. We're through 3 on a gorgeous day from Safeco Field. 5 strikeouts over the first 3 innings, and this is most recent against Peralta. And Mike, he really reached back 94 miles an hour with that one was blocked out.
Yeah, he's hit 94 a couple of times today. Again, his average fastball this year has been 92 miles an hour. But it looks to me as if he's settling down and starting to get the ball down in the zone, using his curveball effectively, and his changeup is starting to come around for him. Unfortunately, as we've talked about, the Diamondbacks have been very aggressive, and in the first inning they ended up scoring the 4 runs. But he looks as if he's settled down, and he has his pitch count back in good shape. So after throwing 22 pitches in the first.
They'll face Castillo to begin the top of the 4th. Castillo a 2-run homer to left in the first inning. There was a time in Felix's career, maybe not all that long ago in the scheme of his now 11th season in the big leagues, where it seemed like in the first inning he was kind of figuring out what he had for the day, how his pitches were playing, how they were feeling. Is that something that you still see him doing, or is he past that?
No, I think he's past it. I think that may have been the case this afternoon, but when you look at him overall over the course of the season, and it started a couple of years ago, I think you're seeing less and less of that. He typically comes out of the pen ready to go. And I think, again, in this one, it wasn't a matter of what pitches he wanted to throw. It was he elevated some pitches, and they were very aggressive on his fastball.
And this is smoked out to left field. Does he have another one in him? Yes, he does.
And that was on the changeup. A couple of home runs for Castillo. Now 10 home runs on the year. Distributed 3 runs. I'll take a look at it. It is the changeup, middle of the plate.
Fifth run today for the Diamondbacks. That brings in Lamb. For Castillo, today marks his 2nd career multi-homer game, and his first since September of 2013 when he was the catcher for the Cubs. Lamb on the ground to Miller. And there is out number 1. Watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in True HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices with MLB.TV Premium. Real game highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more every night on every device. Blackout and other restrictions do apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. 1 out, nobody on for Tomas. And that might be the slowest curve we'll see Felix throw all day, 79. Slicing, dropping, and a base hit. 1 out single for Tomas. He reaches base for the first time today. That brings in Owings. Seventh hit for the Diamondbacks. And Felix really did a nice job bouncing back from that first, sat down the side in order in the second and the third, but now 2 of the first 3 men reaching here in the 4th with the run in.
One of the things that we've talked about with the Diamondbacks, 3rd in the National League and hitting 2nd in runs scored, and you have to have some guys that can hit some good pitches, and we saw Goldschmidt hit a fastball in the left field. Pitch that was in off the plate, pretty good pitch from Felix. And then that last pitch, Tomas, the fastball that was in off the plate, little inside out swing, hitting it the other way. The 1-1. Makes it 1-2.
Now, to tell you how rare this is today, what we're seeing from Felix against a National League opponent, he is approaching the most runs that he has ever allowed to a National League lineup. This is his 35th interleague start in his career. Off the hands, an easy pop-up. Taylor makes the catch, round number 2. When you think about it, the only time he's allowed more runs than what he has so far today against a club from the National League, you have to go back to 2006 when he copped up 7 runs against the Padres. So safe to say a little bit of a different Felix back in 2006 from what we have now. There was Pennington, 31 years old, a Texan. Born and raised in Corpus Christi, went to Texas A&M. Starts him off with a strike. Pennington now in his 8th season in baseball. He's 3rd with the Diamondbacks, was a former first-round draft pick by the Oakland A's. In fact, taking 2 spots ahead of Jacoby Ellsbury when the Red Sox took him in the first round. Former Oregon State product. Tomas at first. He dropped a single into right field. One and 2.
Throwing a lot of strikes. 55 pitches, 40 strikes for Felix. Faced 18 batters, 14 first pitch strikes.
And Felix picks up strikeout number 6, and once again using the curve. A run in for the Diamondbacks. El Castillo, the leadoff homer. We go to the bottom of the 4th. In Colorado, well, in print and online at SeattleTimes.com. The Seattle Times delivers deep sports coverage to your desktop, phone, or tablet. Make the most of the season. Visit SeattleTimes.com to subscribe today. Now, this is exactly what you have in mind when you see a Mariners matinee on the schedule. It is days like this you hope for. And Mother Nature sure has delivered. Gorgeous day. Absolutely perfect, and a nice crowd. Seager leading things off in the 4th for the Mariners. And at this point, the Mariners order facing Corbin for the 2nd time.
few hitters counts we've seen. 2-0 count for Seager.
It was handled lefties very well this year. And now had 3-0. And that's the first 3-ball count today from Corbin.
Well, you're right about Kyle. 321 average against the left-handers with 6 home runs.
And a 4-pitch leadoff walk. The Mariners get their second base runner today. The other was the Nelson Cruz single in the first inning, and here comes Nelson. Now, hardly a walk given out by Corbin so far this year. He has never walked more than a 1 in a start. 3 walks, 23 punch-outs over his first 4 starts this season. Castillo out to the mound after 5 pitches missing to begin things in the bottom of the 4th for Corbin. This Diamondbacks rotation has been lights out lately. You look at the last 6 games. Diamondback starters have gone 5-1, an ERA of 1.35, and opponents hitting barely over 200 against Diamondback starters.
Well, you look in this series, Robbie Ray 7 innings, just 2 earned runs. Godley yesterday, just his second start, 6 innings and 3 earned runs. And now you have Patrick Corbin throwing a lot of strikes, pitching ahead of hitters.
And especially for Ray in game 1 and Corbin in the finale, it's been a pretty steady diet of fastballs.
Saw Robbie Ray, he was 96 miles an hour with some late life to his fastball.
Really, when you look at the starting pitching that at least we've seen and what we've read about as well from the rotation that won't be pitching, like Ruby De La Rosa, who goes tomorrow for the Diamondbacks, Jeremy Hellickson, the other starter for Arizona, the former Ray. Look at the rotation lately for Arizona and then the offense that they put up all season long. It's a little surprising that Arizona under 500 by 3 games. And as we've talked about the last couple of nights, a tough division. Anytime you got the Dodgers and the Giants in the same realm, it's not going to be easy. They're 7 games in back.
Well, and their pitching hasn't been that way all year. They're 11th in the National League in ERA.
And they are near the bottom in baseball in terms of quality starts. They've got some young arms, though, that have really taken stride lately. You can see Hellickson on the left, Godley, who we saw last night, on the right. Two balls and 2 strikes to Cruz. Seager at first with the walk. And the count pushes full. So Corbin did not have a 3-ball count over the first 3 innings and has them to back-to-back batters. The 4-pitch walk to Seager. Now a full count to Cruz. And back-to-back walks. Most walks he's given up in a game so far this year. Granted, this only his 5th. We'll take a look at our Delta Airlines keep climbing standings. And how about we check in on the American League wild card race. The Astros, a big win last night in game 1 of their series at home against the Angels. They've got a 3.5 game cushion over the Twins, where the Mariners head to next. Orioles, Rays, Blue Jays right there in the mix. And those wild card standings, and a lot of general managers looking at those right now. Trade deadline coming up on Friday, 4 Eastern. Already a move earlier this morning. The Dodgers and the Marlins. Matt Latos, Michael Morse, the former Mariner, now in Dodger blue, as the Marlins pick up 3 prospects and a little bit of payroll relief. 2 on, nobody out for Gutierrez. And the first time the Mariners have had a runner in scoring position today. Seager at second, Cruz at first base. A ball and a strike to Gutierrez.
First opportunity today for the Mariners to hit with runners in scoring position.
Seager, the 4-pitch walk. Cruz walked as well. And 2 strikes against Goody now. Corbin, 26 years old, out of Clay, New York, which is only about 20 minutes north of Syracuse. And he's working with a runner behind him for the first time today. Still 1-2.
Aaron, you were talking about how well the Diamondbacks has been lately. Just look at this series. I just mentioned the Mariners getting their first chance to hit with a runner in scoring position. In the first game of this series, the Mariners 2 for 4. So just 4 chances.
Right.
And then yesterday 1 for 3.
Pretty stingy.
Pretty stingy.
The 1-2 to Gutierrez, and he ties him up in on the hands. The off-speed pitch, and that is strikeout number 6.
Would have been a pretty good slider. We talked about his slider at the beginning of the game. It's his best off-speed pitch, and he obviously throws his fastball a lot, but that's a pretty good slider. He will throw it to both left and right-handers, and he's trying to get it to the back foot of Franklin Gutierrez, and you can see that's exactly where it's at. Castillo moving well inside off the plate.
That brings in Trumbo. A strikeout victim back at the second. Off the plate for ball 1. The Mariners this month averaging nearly 4.5 runs per game. And unfortunately, they have run into some high-powered offenses themselves, which has kind of negated those numbers a little bit. Been tough on the pitching. Trumbo on the left side, right to Lamb, on to first, and Trumbo legs it out.
Pretty good turn by Owings, the second baseman, on a ball that was not hit hard. We'll take another look at it, and it looks as if Trumbo beat it. But a good turn. I didn't think it was going to be close. Trumbo, for a big man, can get down the line in pretty good shape. And he's clearly safe.
Nice hustle, puts runners on the corners. First time the Mariners have had a runner at third base today. 2 outs, 2 on for Miller. Miller hasn't had a whole lot of at-bats this year against lefties. Has had over twice as many against righties, but on the season batting a little beneath 200 against southpaws this year.
See Tom Hallion calling that last pitch a strike. It was well off the plate away. And instead of being in a 2-0 count where he's probably going to get a pretty good fastball to hit, it's now 1-1, and you're not sure if it's going to be a fastball or a slider.
And on the ground into left field, a base hit. Miller drives in a run. Here comes Seager with 2 outs. And the Mariners are on the board. And Miller, who drove in 2 last night, picks up an RBI here in the 4th.
And pretty good hitting. It's another fastball at 94 miles an hour, and again, just off the plate away. Brad, who had flown out to right field his first time up, is able to hit this through the left side of the infield.
First and second for the Mariners now. And it brings in Logan Morrison. Pop-up. Pennington right there in the sunshine and is able to make the squeeze. The Mariners get a run. They strand 2. We're through 4 innings. Felix coming on. We go to the 5th. USA as it's out of the road from here or against the Twins. Right now the wild card mix in the American League. Then the Rockies, more interleague play, a day off and home for the Mariners. And then the Rangers come to town Saturday, August 8th. You saw there at the very end of the calendar. A day game against Texas. Jamie Moyer being inducted into the Mariners Hall of Fame. The Twins, by the way, they've lost 7 of their last 10. So we'll see what the Twins have in store for the Mariners when we get to Target Field. Side of last year's All-Star game. And Ciarte leading things off in the top of the 5th. Looks at a strike. And Ciarte, a single, a run scored, and a ground out. Felix behind in the count, now 2-1. Slicing to left center. Gutierrez able to find it. And out number 1. Well, support those who protect our West. Now until August 31st, a portion of every purchase of Coors Banquet will be donated to the Wildland Firefighter Foundation. Learn more about the foundation and the Protect Our West program at wffoundation.org. One up, one down for Felix. He faces A.J. Pollock, Diamondbacks all-star center fielder. And a first pitch strike from Felix, which has been a theme recently.
Well, you look at the game today, 20 batters that he's faced, 16 first pitch strikes.
His last 6 as well.
And I think that now what we're seeing is a lot of those first pitch strikes are quality strikes, including the one to Pollock right there. It was a fastball, but he painted it on the outside corner right at the knees.
And that was the difference between now and the first inning.
Yeah, when he was having the problems. A lot of the fastballs he was throwing, they were up and in the middle of the plate.
Running scoop by Taylor. Pollock, you can see that great speed, but he's out number 2.
He can really get down the line, can he?
Trying to hustle on for a base hit. That's something that really stands out watching the Diamondbacks for the first time this year, and really the first time since spring training. But they have got some really very good athletes on their team. They can cover some ground in the outfield, and that speed translates to the base paths for a lot of them as well.
No, it does, and I think that they are smart base runners. We've talked about them trying to steal bases. They are first in the National League, but you watch them go first to third trying to score. The way that they round the bases, they do an excellent job. So there's somebody in their organization that has spent some time going over those things and teaching these guys. But one thing you cannot teach is speed, and they have a lot of it.
First pitch curveball, a strike to Goldschmidt, and the 0-1 from Felix. Stings it into right field. Cruz tracks it down, and a 2-out single for Goldschmidt, who just has littered the base paths in this series. And it's not just against the Mariners. That's just what he does. He leads baseball in the on-base percentage. He was on base 4 times in game 1, twice last night, and twice already today.
Trying to go with a fastball in the outside corner, middle in. Little inside-out swing from him. Really good look at our Alaska Airlines Supermo. It keeps his head in the hitting area, not trying to do too much with it.
2 outs, a man at first for Peralta. Peralta has struck out twice. There goes Goldschmidt. Felix over to Taylor. Trumbo. Megalomo, rather. And Goldschmidt is in there. A second life for Goldschmidt.
Well, I think this is an example of what we were talking about, Aaron. As you take a look at the slide, Logan knows he misses him there. Tried to get back to the base before Goldschmidt was able to get his hand there. He's clearly safe. But he's the big slugger in the lineup, and that was pretty athletic to watch him do that. There's not many guys that would end up safe. Certainly not many sluggers. And that was pretty good.
Goldschmidt 22 homers, 17 steals this year. A ball and a strike to Peralta.
And the same move that he tried at first base, we saw last night from Pollock when he stole the base off of Iwakuma, which is a rare thing to see somebody steal a base off of Iwakuma. But he almost had a running start, and Goldschmidt tried it right there with Felix. Felix doing the right thing, stepping off.
So here's Goldschmidt coming back.
But he reversed and turned around and was running fast enough to be able to get by Morrison along with the slide.
2 outs, a man at first base. We talked about that steal last night for Pollock. That was the first stolen base Iwakuma had allowed since his final start of 2013, and it was Gerard Dyson, one of the fastest men in baseball, to get the steal. So no slouch. But you're right, a swipe against Iwakuma is about as rare as they come. Long pause by Felix. Still as a statue in time call. The 3-1 on the ground to Brad Miller. And that'll do it for the Diamondbacks. In the top of the 5th, they strand a runner. We go to the home half.
They've been really good. Lost it a little bit in the 4th inning when he walked the first 2 batters. That's when he gave up the 1 run. But up to that point, a lot of first pitch strikes, using his fastball. Put some hitters away with the good slider, and there's a good slider to Logan Morrison. But he really has had it working today. Again, in the 4th inning, struggled a little bit. Hopefully that'll continue here in the 5th.
Facing Jesus Sucre to begin things. Sucre hit his first career Major League home run earlier in this homestand against the Blue Jays. Sucre behind 1-2 the next pitch. For the month, the Mariners hitting .266 as a team, which has been far and away their best average of the year if you go month by month. This is a shot to left field. Peralta leaves his feet, can't make the catch. Sucre hustles into second base with a slide, and he's in there.
Great effort by Peralta in left field. It looks as if it goes right off the end of his glove. Actually, he was there was there to make the catch. Great look in our Alaska Airlines Supermos. It goes right off the end of his glove.
That brings in Taylor. So for Sucre this year, 3 hits. He's had a homer and a double on this homestand.
Taylor was not sacrificing there. He was trying to bunt for a base hit.
Taylor, deep skip there to Owens. Only play on first base. He moves the runner, Sucre, into third base. And with 1 out, the Mariners have a runner 90 feet from home. Well, for every strikeout recorded by a Mariners pitcher at Safeco Field, Home America Line will make a donation to the Seattle Children's Hospital Uncompensated Care Fund with a commitment of $25,000 for the 2015 season. The Mariners thank Holland America Line for their outstanding support. A double, a ground ball out. Sucre 90 feet from home. Back to the top of the order. It's Austin Jackson.
Middle of the infield for the Diamondbacks playing back. Jake Lamb, the third baseman, not even with the bag.
Jackson behind 0-2. Corbin approaching the 70 pitch mark. As Sucre third base, Jackson ready, and a little flick caught there by Lamb, and is able to keep the squeeze on it for out number 2.
This looks like a slider. Going to go down and in. It's out over the plate. Gets it right at the third baseman. That break cross from Jackson and the Mariners.
No chance for a sacrifice fly. 2 out. Sucre at third for Seager, who walked and scored back in the 4th. Soft pop up. Pennington finding the sun. Instead, it'll be Lamb. So Seager out of the first pitch. Sucre after the double stranded at third base. second home run today from Wellington Castillo, only the 6th hitter in Felix's now 11-year career to homer off the King twice in one game.
Both of them landing in the Diamondbacks bullpen. And for Castillo, 10 home runs now on the year. And he will also lead things off here to start the 6th.
Surprisingly, this is the second time this year that an opposing hitter has homered twice off of Felix. One of the best home run hitting shortstops in the American League, Marcus Semien of the A's, took Felix deep twice. But then before this season, you have to go back to 2012. Gordon Beckham of the White Sox, and with the Angels a little bit near the end of last season, Beckham took him deep twice in one game in 2012. But it does not happen often. One ball and one strike. Well, Castillo, Mike, is part of a fantastic baseball trivia question.
Can't wait, Aaron.
This is going to be good. You're going to like this one.
All right.
He has the most at-bats for any current major leaguer without recording a triple. Can you believe that? In fact, he was second, had the second most at-bats among any active major leaguer without a triple entering this season until the Smoke-a-motive triple at Fenway Park earlier this season.
Is that right?
Justin Smoke tripled. So now it is, the torch has been handed off to Castillo, who in his career has a little over 1,100 career at bats without a triple.
I find that interesting, but I'm not sure why you're so excited.
That's just, it's the worthless baseball knowledge that makes the world go round, Mike. Smoke had more at bats overall, but if you look at an active hitters, it is Castillo.
I don't think he's too worried about that today.
The 2-2 gets a piece to stay alive. Fair enough. Castillo was the Cubs starting catcher for about 2 years. And the Diamondbacks represent his 3rd team this season. Cubs, Mariners, and Arizona. Long look in from Felix. And again, the 2-2 check swing. Castillo, 28 years old, out of the Dominican Republic. Felix looking for strikeout number 7. It's 3-2. Castillo was traded over to the Diamondbacks in early June along with Dominic Leone. Leone had spent some time up in the big leagues with Arizona, but was just recently optioned down before the start of this series. Towards the pole, towards King's Court. A lot of hook to it. But Leone now back down to the minors in the Diamondback system. And what a season Leone had last year. And what was a historic year for the Mariners bullpen, and Leone was a big reason why. Sucre takes a shot. They might have to take a moment. You can see what Felix has to think about that. That wasn't pretty. And Tom Howley and the crew chief and home plate umpire giving Sucre a minute or two to collect himself. Long at bat here for Castillo. He's down on 4 pitches.
This will be the 10th pitch of the at bat. Felix has thrown everything at him.
Seager's way, a bobble, and Castillo at first base. An error on Seager. Well, how about we take a look at our Geico this date in big league history. And now this is a great box score. Ricky Henderson stole 5 bases. He scored 4 times, did not have an official at bat. Randy Johnson in that ball game walked Ricky 4 times. Turned out to be a 14-6 win. But how mad, Mike, would Randy Johnson be walking Ricky 4 times and him stealing 5 bases? He stole second and third base in one sequence.
Well, after reading that, I immediately looked at the year that happened in. It was 1989. Randy, let's just say, had some control issues at that point in his career. And for Ricky, with that crouch stance that he had, not much of a strike zone to pitch to. So I can see how that would happen.
Check swing appeal does not go. You're right, that season for Randy in '89, his first with the Mariners. Spent parts of that season with both the Expos and with Seattle. The command was not great. He had 96 walks, 130 strikeouts.
How many innings?
In 160 innings. Lamb into right field. Castillo shuffling into second. So 2 on for Tomas.
One of the few hitters, I think this was the curveball, one of the few hitters able to handle the curveball.
So Felix in a little bit of some trouble here with 2 on and nobody out. An error to single. Here is Tomas DHing today. Seager able to pick, throw on to first base, to second rather, then on to first for the double play. Castillo, the only man who survives, and there are 2 outs.
And Kyle comes right back and makes a fine play. You can see him reach for it, but more importantly, gets rid of it quickly. An accurate throw and an easy turn for Brad Miller.
Two outs. Castillo at third for Owings.
Diamondbacks are now 2 for 4 with runners in scoring position this afternoon. On the season, they're hitting .245 as a team, runners in scoring position. Felix, 86 pitches, 61 strikes. Again, throwing a lot of first pitch strikes. 26 batters he's faced, 20 first pitch strikes.
Including the last 3 now. Clobber to left field. Gutierrez just in front of the warning track. Owens hit it stiff, but to Gutierrez, and with that, Castillo stranded at third base.
Safeco Field. Absolutely fantastic. Remember to use the hashtag #WhereIRoot when you send in the photos. Janet's here and got to watch in awe as the Blue Angels flew overhead. Just as cool, Darth was presenting the colors today. And forget a fancy dinner. This is where Ken wanted to spend his 14th anniversary with his wife. Not a bad place to spend it here at Safeco Field. Guys, back upstairs to you.
All right, Angie, thank you. Mike, we might have had the best view of the Blue Angels, wouldn't you say?
I thought it was terrific.
It was awesome. And they timed it perfectly, and you probably wouldn't expect anything less from those guys. Timed it right with the end of the national anthem. Cruz beginning things in the bottom of the 6th inning. Corbin still going strong. The ground to Owens. Round number 1. 1 up, 1 down. That'll bring in Franklin Gutierrez. Take a look at our CenturyLink. What's next? The upcoming series, a 4-game set against the Minnesota Twins. It'll be half tomorrow against Phil Hughes, Walker, Tommy Malone, Mike Montgomery, and then Iwakuma against Gibson and Pelfrey. And at last look, those two leading baseball or kind of going back and forth, and ground ball double plays turned behind them. Those are a couple of pitchers that seemed like they would fit the Rockies very well, as Goody is on with 1 out and nobody on.
Speaking of the Blue Angels, if you were offered a ride, would you take
absolutely.
it? Would you?
I wouldn't get in there fast enough. That would be fantastic. Would you?
I would, but I'd have to talk to him. I definitely don't want to get turned upside down.
Oh, but now what's the point if you're not going to go upside down? You got to bring a Polaroid like Top Gun style.
No, that's something that you would enjoy.
Really?
Oh.
You know, Angie has flown with the Blue Angels. Angie, what are your memories?
Oh, it was terrifying yet thrilling, guys, at the same time. I did go upside down. I pulled about 6 G's, but they teach you, because basically what's happening is you're pulling all these G's and the blood is draining out of your head. So you have to do these like hick moves to like force the blood back up into your head, kind of like crunches, if you will. But the one thing I will always remember and take away, you're actually strapped into an ejection seat. Okay, so they call that bonus time. All right, and no bonus time, no screwing around. You have to go through this whole thing. Do not pull the ejection seat handle. And they also have.
I'm out.
I was going to say, Mike's face has just continually started to drop, though, with more description.
They also have barf bags for you, and they call those party bags. Those are
a very nice way to put it.
Party bags, yes. But I didn't lose my lunch and I didn't pass out, so it was a good day. It was awesome.
And you didn't eject yourself either.
No.
That's probably the best part. Trumbo out to first. That puts it into 6 innings. We're up to the 7th. Diamondbacks by 4. Moose during your next trip to Safeco Field by visiting the Seattle Children's Moose Den. The den is conveniently located on the main concourse in center field and is open to all fans. Be sure to stop by the Seattle Children's Moose Den this season. Gorgeous day from Safeco Field. The series and the homestand are wrapping up before we travel to Minnesota and then Colorado for interleague play against the Rockies, where we will see Jose Reyes. Pennington on the first pitch. Taylor out. Goody in. And Franklin Gutierrez makes the catch. So, Mike, we have, I think this year we have, in a limited number of telecasts, we've covered pretty good ground as to things that you will just immediately pass on. In Toronto,
which is most.
Toronto, remember the rappelling down the CN Tower?
That's a no.
That was a no-doubter. And then even the skywalk in at the Trop, right? The rings.
Yeah, that's a no.
Not a chance. And the Blue Angels.
No.
Man, a lot of solo time. Hot air balloon, Mike? Would you do that?
I think that the one thing that we have either talked about or shown this year that I absolutely would do. Is we covered the cystic fibrosis golf tournament, and I would get in one of those golf carts and drive it. I would do that.
You would do that?
Yes.
All right. That's on one side of the ledger then. Enciarte, a one-out single. He's on a first base for Palmer.
On the other side, you're in all of that. You would.
I would definitely do. I hope to someday walk the catwalk at Tropicana Field.
What about the tower? CN Tower.
Boy, that was pretty scary. I don't.
Probably not.
I'd probably not do that. Blue Angels, yes. Golf cart, sure. I'll hop in one of those. Pollock into center field. Enciarte advances into second, and with one out, the Diamondbacks have 2-1. One hop your way home. Take Link Light Rail to the airport for just $3. Schedule available at soundtransit.org. Felix just over 90 pitches.
And we talked about it earlier in the ball game. Goldschmidt due up, and he's the guy in this series. If you're going to face him, you don't want to face him with guys on base. Already a couple of RBIs. Had a base hit in the first. Drive in 2 runs.
1 out, 2 on. For the top RBI man in baseball. Goldschmidt this year hitting .403 with runners in scoring position. He's batting .322 with runners on base.
Nuno getting loose in the pen.
Getting sent to face his former team. Lloyd has been very pleased with what Nuno has given the bullpen so far this year. We saw him in game 1.
One of the other things with Goldschmidt that we have seen throughout this series is even though he's a power hitter, and we've mentioned that the high average, he rarely swings and pitches out of the strike zone. I can't recall an at bat in this series where he's chased a pitch, and that's not easy to do, especially with Felix on the mound.
Pretty amazing. You look at Paul Goldschmidt this year. 82 strikeouts, 82 walks. For a guy hitting not close to 350 and over 20 homers. There aren't many like him. One out, 2 on. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Goldschmidt. Felix's pitch. Goldschmidt gets a piece. It's been a while since Felix's last punch out. That was back in the 4th inning. In fact, he struck out 6 batters over the first 4 frames. And now Sucre out for a chat. And as we saw a shot of the bullpen, Lloyd had some encouraging news on Charlie Furbush today, saying that Charlie threw from a mound yesterday and he will be on the road trip with the Mariners and is in line to pitch an inning or 2 in Tacoma the first week of August, probably around the 6th or the 7th. So looks like things getting on track in Charlie's rehab process. Goldschmidt down on strikes. Felix gets him with a fastball. 7th strikeout for the King.
And we'll take a look at it. Borderline right at the bottom of the strike zone, maybe just below it.
That's his first strikeout of the series.
Addison Reed getting loose in the Diamondbacks bull.
Reed, the one-time closer for the White Sox.
Arizona now 2 for 6 with runners in scoring position.
Ball 1 to Peralta. Center field, but Austin Jackson up in the sunshine looking for it, can't find it, and this will do some damage. Enciarte in to score, Pollock in to score, and all the way to third base Peralta.
With where we're sitting and the angle that we have, you could tell Austin Jackson was having a hard time seeing the baseball because it was plenty of time for him to get underneath it, but if it's in the sun and you can't see it, it's hard to catch it, and that's what happens here. I tried to make an adjustment late. That'll be a triple.
A 2-run triple. And with 7 runs today for the Diamondbacks, that ties the most runs allowed for Felix in an interleague start. Gave up 7 back in May of 2006 to the Padres. So this is a very rare performance. This ties for the most hits Felix has allowed in an interleague start. Gave up a dozen hits to the Astros when they were in the National League back in 07. Two balls and 1 strike to Castillo, who's reached 3 times, once on an error, but he's homered twice.
And Felix now at 102 pitches, 71 strikes.
Three and 1. Jake Lamb on deck. Two outs, Peralta at third. Felix trying to go a full 7 innings. Gets a strike there to push the count full. Seven strikeouts today for Felix, looking for number 8. Felix throwing hard. It was 105th pitch of the day. Full count to Castillo, and he takes a walk.
And it looks like that will be it for Felix. Boyd McClendon on his way out to the mound.
So we will step aside. Diamondbacks have really opened this one up here in the 7th. Fidel Nuno coming on for the Mariners. The telecast is presented by authority of the Seattle Mariners and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Seattle Mariners. Nice shot of the harbor. Beautiful day from Safeco Field. And although the Diamondbacks on their way to a sweep of the Mariners, unless they can score a bunch of runs late here today, as we take a look, Mike, at the final line for the King, who was knocked around a bit.
Yeah, tough day for Felix. 6 2/3, 12 hits. You don't see that very often. 7 runs, all of them earned. Had just the 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. He threw 106 pitches, 73 for strikes. Nuno will take over his 18th appearance on the air, and as Aaron said earlier, he's pitched well, a 1.80 ERA. 17 strikeouts in the 20 innings that he has worked.
First and third for the Diamondbacks. Peralta at third. Castillo, who just threw the walk, is at first base.
Felix is responsible for those runners.
Those 12 hits, a season high. His previous high was 10. That was against the A's on July 4th when he really scattered those 10 hits. 7 innings, only 2 runs against Oakland that day. Lamb a single off of Felix back in the 6th. And he's 1-2 here against Nuno. And Lamb over to the dugout. Taking it back. not expect to see Felix struggle like he did today.
Talked about his last outing against the Blue Jays, one of the better offenses in baseball, really, and he went 7 innings, just 1 earned run in that one, so you felt pretty good about things today with Felix on the mound.
Diamondbacks had not seen him since '09.
Well, it was obvious their game plan early, and that was to be very aggressive, scoring 4 runs in the first and a lot of first pitch swinging.
Two outs, 2 on, and Lamb goes around. So Nuno gets a strikeout. The Diamondbacks strand 2, they score 2, and it's time to stretch here from Safeco Field. As you consider how Washington's lottery win would change your bucket list, play today. Now, perfect day to be out at Alki. Beautiful day from Safeco Field as well. The homestand coming to a close. As we make our way on to the bottom of the 7th inning, in a game that the Diamondbacks really got to Felix early and a little bit late as well. 7 runs, 12 hits, and Addison Reed up on the mound now, taking over for Patrick Corbin to begin things in the last of the 7th.
For Reed, his 26th appearance on the year, 2-2 record, high ERA, 5.92 ERA for him. 24 1/3, 20 strikeouts, 11 walks. It's a big part of the problem. Opponents also hitting .304 against him. He will get Brad Miller. Brad has driven in the 1 run for the Mariners. Had a base hit his last time up, picked up an RBI.
Hard hit to right, drops in for a base hit. So Miller 2 hits. The Mariners Team Store Fan Dream Stakes contest is going on now. When you stop by any of the 5 Mariners team stores to sign up, you're automatically entered to win one of 10 great prizes, including authentic Mariners apparel, a photo with the player, or even a chance to throw out the first pitch. So stop by a Mariners team store to enter. Leadoff man reaches. Here is Logan Morrison. Lobo 0 for 2. Reed was sent down to AAA for some time. Now back up in the big leagues with the Diamondbacks. Made 11 appearances in the minors. Former closer for the White Sox.
Arizona has the shift on. Logan hitting. Take a look at the defense on the infield. Straight up in the outfield.
Ball, a strike. fits in with a really pretty fond Mariners memory. Go back a couple of years ago, back in 2013, he was pitching for the White Sox, and he had a day game here at Safeco, and it was a tied ball game into extra innings, and I want to say, Mike, it was the 14th. It was scoreless through 9, and the White Sox scored a bunch of runs in the top of the 14th inning. 5 runs, and the Mariners scored a run in the bottom of the 14th. The bases were loaded up. Seager came to the plate. He had 2 strikes and 2 outs in the game as well. And he took one off the foot from Reed. And you could tell Seager was really shaken up.
Fouled it off his foot.
Fouled it off his foot, thank you. And then Seager hit the grand slam off of Reed to tie the game up. Each team scoring 5 runs in the 14th. And the only thing that rivaled Seager actually hitting the grand slam was Hawk Harrelson's call of Seager hitting the grand slam, which was crickets. Hawk didn't say a word. The very famous TV announcer for the White Sox. He was not very pleased about it, and it was an incredible. I think it was the first grand slam for Seager.
Well, when I think about that now, a few years later, I think that game, that at bat for Kyle, the way that he clutched up right there, that's when his career took
Really?
off. I think so.
You think so? Stands out that much?
It does to me, yes. Such a big moment at that time for him to do
Sure.
that. And he's been their most consistent player since.
Now, there's no doubt about that. Down the right field line, but pulled foul.
Well, 6-pitch at bat for Logan Morrison. And spoke to Logan yesterday and trying to figure out some things with his stride right now, soften things up, give his hands a chance to work. Pretty good job pulling that last fastball in the inside corner at 95 miles an hour.
Miller at first base. There he goes. Soft pop up foul. To right field, Inciarte pedaling in, and he makes the catch. Strong throw on to first base. Miller able to tiptoe back. One out, one on, and it'll bring in Sucre.
Sucre with a double in his last at bat. 1 for 2 this afternoon.
Sucre getting the start today. A day off for Mike Zunino. Miller, a short lead at first base. The 1-0 inside. Zunino right now leading the American League in games caught. And there's no doubt it's been something that has been at the front of Lloyd and Jack's mind as well, to try to find him some more time off. Acquired Castillo, but then traded Castillo in order to get Trumbo. Trumbo starting to heat up. Really has been for this entire month. But good to see a day off and an opportunity for Mike to get off his legs a little bit.
No, you have to do it. It's such a tough position to play on a daily basis, and Mike's done it a lot this year. Night game to a day game. Every now and then you have to get him out of there, even though he's been a hot hitter later in an eight-game hitting streak, including a long home run yesterday. Super 8, it's his fly ball out.
Medium depth, round number 2. And as we start to approach the trade deadline, a trade was made earlier today in baseball as Matt Latos and Michael Morris, the former Mariner, over to the Dodgers. The Marlins getting 3 prospects in return. Latos a free agent at the end of the season. Morris 1 more year on his contract. Dodgers without Engin Ryu for the rest of the season, a shoulder injury. Brandon McCarthy, whom the Mariners saw back in April, done for the year with Tommy John. And it's incredible. You look at the Dodgers with what Greinke has put together, an incredible season, a historic season. The National League starter in the All-Star game, Kershaw leading baseball in strikeouts, and even with those 2, Don Mattingly needing some rotation depth. So going and grabbing Latos, not the biggest name. Talked about it this time of year, but somebody that they can plug in. A lot of chatter about that trade coming out early this morning, and since that time it almost appears like there might be a snag or a hiccup along the way. So maybe we'll find out when we land in Minnesota.
Probably a medical issue.
Right.
We've heard that a few times this week.
Well, it seemed like that happened with the Cincinnati Kansas City Cueto deal the first time around. Then the next day they ironed it out. They got it all official. And what a race it is right now in the West. The Dodgers, the Giants. Dodgers leading San Francisco by half game. Giants and Brewers scoreless right now in the 7th. As Taylor down on strikes. And Miller's stranded at first base. We are off to the 8th on a gorgeous day from downtown Seattle.
Laura. And we're celebrating a 14th anniversary earlier. How about this one? A 20th anniversary at Safeco Field. You've got to keep her there. And how about this? We also heard from people today, guys celebrating their 50th anniversary using the hashtag Where I Root. Back to you.
Oh, good stuff. Thank you, Ange. Tomas beginning the 8th. And behind 0-2.
Trumbo is going to take over at first. He started off as the DH today, and waiting to hear to see what happened with Logan Morrison. Logan on the last swing was in some sort of pain. We'll find out.
Nunez 1-2. Fair ball, and it's into left field. Tomas into second. I'll take a look at that swing from Logan Morrison that Mike was just referencing, which is likely the reason why.
Watch him follow through. Right there, you can tell something is bothering him. He's trying not to move his arm at all.
Yeah, it's not good.
No. I was watching down the dugout to see if he was going to come back out and go to first. It looked as if he was going to and wanted to, but they had to make a change. So now Trumbo at first.
Owens, Miller racing out, but instead it is Cruz in right field. Well, today we have Tom Hallion behind home plate, the crew chief, now in his 23rd year in the majors. And Mike, he's one of the more entertaining guys to watch behind home plate, isn't he?
Well, you don't want to take a called third strike when he's back behind home plate, I can tell you that.
I mean, the core workouts this guy must do.
It's great.
So who are some of the more entertaining or umpires, Mike, from your playing days that you remember the most? For whatever reason.
Well, I think my favorite is probably Steve Palermo, just because he was such a professional. And when I was young in the big leagues trying to figure things out, he really took the time to help me a lot.
Really?
Yeah. When he was at the umpire at third on a given day and I was out there, he constantly was talking to me, which I thought was great.
What's an example of something he might say?
Well, the first time was when I was facing Jack Morris in Detroit, and he struck me out looking my first at bat, I believe. I think that's what it was. And I went out to third, and he said, "Young man, never know how long you're going to be here. You may as well get your swings in." And I sat there and I said, "Well, I thought those pitches were off the plate." He goes, "That's Jack Morris. You need to swing the bat." And he was absolutely right. Never forgot that.
That's great.
Yeah, but he used to talk to me. And the thing that I liked is, as I moved along,
can't get there. Taylor on a dive. Tomas holds at third.
As a hitter, and this is all hitters will appreciate this, is that if there's a call that is questionable, close one way or the other, you could turn around and talk to him and ask him about it. And he was willing to talk to you. To a point, obviously.
Sure.
But I always appreciated that about him. And I just thought he was really good at his job. I didn't think he missed many pitches. And he typically had it right. So he was one of my favorites. But probably one of the more entertaining, Durwood Merrill has passed away. But Durwood was a lot of fun when he was behind home plate. I guess after a while I started to see the humor. When I was younger, I wasn't a big fan. He used to get me upset back there. But the thing that I can remember about Durwood is if there was a pitch and it could be 5-6 inches off the plate, and he would call it a strike, and you could turn around and talk to him, and he had a great sense of humor. But I'd say, Durwood, that pitch is off the plate away. And he'd look up at me and he'd say the same thing every time. Hall of Fame pitch, Mike. Hall of Fame pitch. But he was a lot of fun. And he had a good time, really enjoyed his job.
He was the one that made the announcement before the game to, what was it, opposing managers or
to the managers. Yeah, he basically, Randy was pitching, and I can't remember who was on the other side, but I think it was David Cohn. And Durwood was obviously excited to call that ball game. He had home plate, and he turned around and looked at Lou, and I was putting my helmet back and my bat and stuff, getting ready for the game to start. He looks at Lou, and Lou looks out at Durwood, and he says, "A couple of Hall of Famers going today. Lou, tell the boys to swing the bats," and turned around and said the same thing to the Yankee dugout.
That's terrific.
Before the game started.
At least you knew what was going to happen.
He better start swinging. He was great.
Gets him swinging. And Ciarte out, number 2.
But I also asked him, if they're Hall of Fame pitchers, why are you giving them so much help?
That's a good point. That's a nice hitter's approach to it, Mike.
He, of course, laughed and gave me a wink, and that told me he better swing.
That's it.
Yeah.
He's not going to change his stance on things.
No.
Pollock up the middle, and the Diamondbacks get their 8th run and their 15th hit of the day. Pollock has scored twice. He's picked up his 3rd hit, his first RBI. Tomas, who doubled, comes in.
And that's back-to-back games where they've really swung the bat well with runners in scoring position. 5 for 11 yesterday, and I have them 5 for 10 today. So.
Goldschmidt up for the 5th time today. Nuno ahead 0-2. Look at the last 5 years for Goldschmidt. Best on base percentage right now in baseball. Highest average for an active hitter. Cabrera batting .350, but has been on the disabled list for some time now with the calf injury.
2013 monster year. 36 home runs, 125 RBIs.
And that was the year when McCutchen won the MVP. And there was a lot of speculation, or a lot of talk rather, that if you put the numbers of McCutchen right next to Goldschmidt, that Goldschmidt had some better numbers in some ways. But of course, McCutchen that year for the Pirates, it was the best season for Pittsburgh in decades, and a playoff team.
It probably didn't hurt that he's one of the better center fielders in the game.
No doubt. Seager back a half step on to second. That'll end the top of the 8th. Another run in for the Diamondbacks as they have a healthy lead. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. link, your link to what's next. By Geico, 15 minutes can save you 50% or more on car insurance. By Jack in the Box, if the Mariners win, mention Mariners for a free jumbo jack with purchase tomorrow at Jack in the Box. And by Money Tree, proud to make a donation to Mariners Care for every Mariners win. Close-up look at Paul Goldschmidt, last at bat. Get up as a fielder's choice. Reed back up on the mound. Jackson leading things off.
And Rodney getting loose in the Mariner pen.
Straightaway center. And Pollock can't make the catch. Jackson in at second base. That's a double.
Late break for Pollock in center field. Similar thing that happened to Mike Trout the other day when he was having a wrist issue. Trying to make a diving catch like that is so difficult when these guys, they'd rather dive off to the side and have an angle as opposed to diving straight in. And Trout did the same thing. You could see his glove roll over. Trout talked about it, said he was fortunate that his glove actually came off of his hand. Pollock seems to be okay.
And Trout's been out of the lineup. Of course, the Angels have gone out and acquired, it seems like, every free agent outfielder they can. De Jesus from Tampa Bay, Murphy from Cleveland, Victorino from Boston. You can see Rodney.
A little pitch tonight.
Drive snared there. Owens, the second baseman. One out. Enter the Mariners Team Store Fan Dream Stakes contest, and you could win one of 10 great prizes, including authentic Mariners apparel, a photo with a player, even throughout the first pitch. Stop by any one of the 5 Mariners team stores and enter today. That'll bring in Cruz. Cruz now a 9-game hitting streak. One out, one on. Jackson the double at second base.
Diamondbacks.
The 0-2. Cruz, a big swing and a miss. And that's out number 2. Well, it's on to Minnesota after this one today. And we take a look at our CenturyLink What's Next. Happ, Walker, Montgomery, and then Iwakuma trying to bounce back after the start we saw last night. The Twins have surprised a lot of people. In fact, if you take a look at the American League wildcard standings right now, you have truly the two most surprising teams in the league leading the wildcard standings. The Astros right now tied for the top spot in the West.
But the Twins have lost 7 of their last 10. They're struggling right now.
No, you're absolutely right. Brian Dozier, an all-star this year for the Twins, their second baseman. Their rotation, the Twins, then, is much, much better than it was last season. In fact, last year it seemed like the bottom 2 rotations in baseball, the Rockies, which seems to be an annual badge for Colorado, in part because of the altitude, in part also because they just haven't had any quality starting pitchers recently. But then the Twins are right there with them as well. And Pelfrey and Gibson, the final 2 that we will see in that series, starting pitchers for the Twins, have been pitching very well this year.
Well, you looked at the 4 of them right there, all of them with ERAs in the 3s.
Yeah. And then you got Glenn Perkins, who didn't blow a save until about 2 weeks ago.
Hard throwing left-hander.
He's been an all-star each of the last 3 years, it seems like, at this point. He's got nearly 30 saves on the season, most in the American League. I think a lot of people were probably sad when Ron Gardenhire was let go. Gardy, one of the most likable guys in the game.
I agree.
And just a true professional. And then you got Paul Molitor coming in, and you talk about a little street cred. Just a little bit. 3,000 hits, the Hall of Fame. The whole deal. This has got a ride to it. Pollock trying to find it, and he couldn't see it either.
And we saw it with Austin Jackson, who's going to score right there. It happened to him, and the same thing with Pollock. He was certainly back in time, but could not pick it up. So that will be a ground rule double for Franklin Gutierrez, and he'll pick up an RBI. Second double of the inning for the Mariners. Jackson started off with a double, and you can see him right there, hands out, not sure where it's at.
And those are 2 quality center fielders who haven't had a chance out there. Two outs, Goody at second base. And here's Trumbo. Talking about Paul Molitor, Lloyd has the famous line that if you can't reach him, you can't teach him. And he's used that when talking about Edgar Martinez, talking about some pretty instant credibility. And with Edgar, if he can't get a hold of you just by walking up and saying, Edgar Martinez, let's talk some hitting, there's a problem.
Yeah, I think that is just foolish. Not just because of the numbers he put up, winning a couple of batting titles and all the great things he did here in Seattle as a player. But if you talk to his former teammates, people that have been around him, and the way that he teaches hitting and goes about his business,
yeah,
you have to take advantage of that. And I think with the way the Mariners have swung the bats here in the month of July, much better. I think that he's had an impact.
Look at this month, hitting 266. The next best month, let's go back to April, 239. That's a big jump.
It's a big jump.
And the home run numbers, no team in baseball has hit more homers this month than the Mariners. Trumbo, big swing, down on strikes. And Goody stranded at second base. That wraps up 8 innings.
Petco Field today, although this might be a close second using the hashtag where I root. Daniel sent this one in from his honeymoon in Maui. Yeah, that's actually not too bad. And our next one using the hashtag where I root is good looking out birthday present. How about that? Remember to use the hashtag where I root on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Guys?
All right, thank you, Ange, as we go to the top of the 9th inning. New pitcher up on the mound, it's Fernando Rodney, Mike.
43 appearances on the year, 3-4 record. 5.71 ERA. Fernando trying to figure things out. 41 innings, 31 strikeouts, 19 walks. Opponents hitting .266 against him. Fernando's had a good fastball pretty much all year. He's been anywhere from 93 to 97 miles an hour. And of course, the great changeup. Command has been a little bit of an issue. We saw the 19 walks.
He is on here to face Peralta in the 9th inning. And obviously the talk recently about Fernando all surrounding what Lloyd told us all a couple of days ago, that he has been tipping pitches, and the Mariners believe that has been part of Fernando's struggles. But Mike, there are numerous ways to tip pitches, aren't there?
No, you're right. And I think in Fernando's case, he must be doing something. And I'm just thinking about as a hitter, he must be doing something to where you know he's going to throw his fastball. I think even if you knew his changeup was coming, because it's such a good changeup, it's not a pitch you necessarily want to hit. But if you know he's going to throw a fastball, then you can obviously take the changeup. He's basically a two-pitch pitcher. He's never been a guy that has tried to work off the edges of the plate. His deception is a big key for him. And if you know as a hitter that he's going to throw a fastball, even at 95 miles an hour, that's a huge advantage for the opposing team. And to your point, Aaron, it doesn't take much for you to do something, especially if you're doing it early, for the hitters to pick it up, because you have people in the dugouts. We just showed Edgar Martinez, he was one of the best, and if you're doing something to let him know what you're going to throw, you're going to be in big trouble. And for Fernando, if he was tipping his pitches, you have to get that straightened out right away. And I was wondering, because he's had some outings where I've seen teams take his changeup, and some pretty good changeup, and usually you see some ugly swings on it. But he's trying to get that worked out, and that was a pretty good fastball in the inside corner right there. And his last couple of outings have been better for him. So I think that because the Mariners are aware of it, and I'm sure that they've talked to Fernando, whatever it was that he was doing, and sometimes it can be the way he holds his glove. Sometimes sometimes it's at his belt, maybe it'll be up by his letters. If it's different, they will pick up on that. Sometimes it's the angle of his glove and where he's going with it. And if you can see that, that'll tell you what he's going to throw. When he starts his windup, maybe you can pick something out of that. If he drops his glove down, it's a fastball. If he stays high with it, it's going to be a changeup. There's a lot of different things, Aaron. And at this level, especially with all the video they have, and we see the scouts all the time, that's all they're trying to do, is to pick up something to get an advantage.
And this comes up and in, and it spills Castillo, who has been wearing the bullseye lately. And Castillo saying that it got part of him and the bat, as one of the trainers comes out.
Pretty good fastball, 95 miles an hour, and right off of his pinky.
And sometimes you just can't catch a break.
And that's scary too. Well, you're right. We saw him get hit in the elbow in the first game of the series, and now that. Anytime the baseball hits you around your hands, especially with that kind of velocity, there's so many different things that can go wrong. But he appears to be okay.
Mike, going back to Fernando and tipping pitches, it seems as though, as Fernando's been in a bit of a rut lately in terms of the home runs that he's given up late, it seems as though some of those home runs have been on really very well located fastballs at times. And it's hard to kind of go back and replay the tape in your mind as to where all the pitch selections happen to be. But it's not like all of those have just been meatballs right over the middle of the plate.
No, you're right. And again, with his fastball at 95, we just saw him hit Castillo with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. If he locates the fastball, it's difficult to get a hit on it, much less hit it out of the ballpark, unless major league hitters know what they're going to get. And they're going to be much more aggressive with their swing. With Fernando, a lot of times, especially we saw him last year when he was really going well, hitters are always defensive when they were up there trying to survive the attack. Now, with all of that, he's had some issues at times with his command. That's not going to have anything to do with him tipping pitches, but if he's throwing strikes and they're laying off of his changeup, especially if they're just below the strike zone and they're not even offering at it, that leads you to believe that something's going on. And that's probably where they picked it up.
Soft ground ball Miller's way. The flip. Back to first. And the double play to end things in the top of the ninth. Rodney faces the minimum. We go to the bottom of the ninth inning. Mariners down by 6.
The bottom of the ninth. Coming up, though, on Mariners postgame presented by Delta Airlines. Before the team heads for Minneapolis, we're going to get the latest on Lomo as well as Cano. We'll hear from the skipper. We'll talk to the players, and we will get you set for the series against the Twins. It's all coming up on Mariners postgame presented by Delta Airlines. Aaron.
All right, Angela, on the way as we go to the bottom of the ninth inning. And a new pitcher up on the mound. It's Josh Pulminter once again, second time in this series. We've seen him up on the hill. He will work the ninth for the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, he pitched in last night's ball game. 22 appearances for him, a 3-6 record. He's had some struggles this year. 4.68 ERA. Only 39 strikeouts in 82 2/3. Not a hard thrower. His fastball being the upper 80s, maybe touch 90. He's given up 14 home runs this year. Opponents hitting .304. And looks like we're also going to have a pinch hitter. Miller going to lead things off, and Ackley will pinch it where Morrison was at. So he will actually pinch it where the pitcher's spot was, because Trumbo was the DH and he had to take over at first.
Miller beginning things at the bottom of the ninth inning. Diamondbacks today getting 7 runs off of Felix and 12 hits.
Mariners with 6 hits today. Brad has 2 of them.
Now, you know, Mike, when you take a look at the Diamondbacks media guide cover this year, it's a pretty simple theme. It is 51 Randy Johnson, and that's it. No Paul Goldschmidt, no Chip Hale, the new manager. It is all about Randy Johnson, who happens to be a team employee for the Diamondbacks, special assistant to the president and CEO. And with Hall of Fame weekend just recently coming to a close. What was it like for you to see Randy up there on that stage in Cooperstown?
I thought it was great. I think he's an obvious choice.
Right.
I was happy to see that he really, what was he, 97.3%? I think he has to be somewhere in the top 5, I think, all time, somewhere in that area. Well deserved. Look, you know, best moments that I had as a Mariner here, Randy was such a big part of that at the time. I thought that, you know, to watch him go on and win all the Cy Young awards, he did win one of them with the Mariners. He ended up with 5. I think he had 4 in a row of them. Just dominant man, great pitcher, certainly well deserved, and I was thrilled for him and his family.
You bring up the voting percentage. The highest vote percentage of all time is Tom Terrific, Tom Seaver, and then you've got Nolan Ryan, Cal Ripken Jr., Ty Cobb. We're throwing out some the who's who. George Brett, Hank Aaron, Tony Gwynn, and then Randy Johnson. Randy had a higher vote percentage than guys like Maddox, Johnny Bench, Babe Ruth, Willie Mays, Bob Feller. I mean, well, they're all obviously all-time greats in the Hall of Fame, but the voting percentage, it was just off the charts for Randy.
It was, and I think again well deserved. I'll be curious to see where Junior lands.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, he's
where's he going to land?
Yeah, he has to be way up at the top, if not the top.
Because keep in mind, when you're talking about voting percentages for the Hall of Fame, you're really getting down to the percentage points,
right?
Because separating Seaver from Randy Johnson is about 1.5%. I mean, you're really nerding out when you get to that level. But these are some of the numbers that are fun to kind of digest and hold on to over the course of this game's great history. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Ackley, with Seth Smith on deck.
Well, I've heard some arguments about it when it comes to that percentage, but I just, if you have a vote, I don't see how you're not going to vote for Junior on the first ballot.
And here's my argument for it.
With the career that he has had in the era in which he played, I don't understand it.
You look at any of these players that we've talked about, because obviously nobody's ever been voted in 100%.
Right.
So you take Griffey, for example. You know that he's going to go in, which is going to be the argument for somebody who may not vote for him, who wants to vote for somebody to keep him alive, to get enough votes to keep them on the ballot for next year. But if you don't vote for Griffey, you'll never get a chance to vote for Griffey. I mean, you're going to,
that's where I'm at. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer without question, and I don't want to be the one guy that didn't vote for him.
I mean, if somebody says, did you vote for Ken Griffey Jr. to go in the Hall of Fame, do you really want to look that person in the eyes and say, yeah, actually, funny you bring that up. No, I didn't
think so.
I mean, that'd almost be embarrassing.
Yeah, that's what I think too. But that'll be a lot of fun. Also, it was great to see Randy, and it'll be a lot of fun to watch Junior go in.
Randy, the second most strikeouts in the history of the game, most by a lefty, and his run with the Diamondbacks, 3 straight Cy Youngs. Look at the numbers he put up with the Mariners. Cy Young back in '95. Full count. It really seemed like people who know Randy well, like you do, Mike, when talking about him from this past weekend in Cooperstown, one of the biggest observations was just how at ease Randy was and how much he was smiling. Now, obviously, everybody's a little bit nervous for the speech.
Right.
But Randy kind of seemed like a guy as Ackley smokes this deep to right field. And high off the wall, extra bases for Dustin as he cruises into second base with 1 out. And he kind of seemed like somebody that it wasn't so much a case of every 5 days he had a scowl on his face, but maybe it was almost 7 days a week.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. I really noticed that, Aaron. And I go back to Randy's minor league days with the Expos. That's when I first met him. But I noticed it when he was here going into the Mariners Hall of Fame.
Really?
Yes. When he was here, and just like I guess the biggest thing is because he was always so intense about everything. Even, I mean, it's legendary on the days that he pitched, but even in between, through his workouts and getting ready, I mean, all of those things, he took his job very seriously. And to see him here, he was so relaxed about all of it. It was great to see. It seemed to me that he's really taking the time to enjoy all of the accomplishments that he's had, which is
phenomenal.
Yeah,
as he should. But for some, that might be easier said than done.
Well, I agree, but I think that it was great to see, and I ended up getting the same feeling watching him in Cooperstown.
Ackley at second, 1 out. Really, you look at that Hall of Fame class, and you have, I don't know, Mike, what do you think? The last two true intimidators on the mound, and Randy and Pedro. When you think about Bob Gibson of the Cardinals before that, one of the meanest guys to take the hill. Randy maybe right there at the very top of the list, of course. But that is, Al Kaline was talking to us about this back in Detroit as he played against Bob Gibson in the 1968 World Series, and he said that that's a part of the game that's just gone now, and he understands that it's just that sense of intimidation and almost just a pitcher wanting to put fear in a hitter.
Right.
You don't see it as regular.
Think of one?
I'm
think of one right now in today's game?
I'm trying to do it. Inciarte finding the sunshine on the track, and he wins. Ackley advancing into third. I mean, sure, there are guys that you don't want to face. There's no doubt about that. But to have
that's different, though, the way you're talking about.
Absolutely, because that's always got, that's because of his stuff.
As a hitter, an element of fear.
Yeah.
Or the thought that at any moment I could be on my back.
Like with Pedro.
With Pedro, yeah. You don't see much of that anymore.
Those are two of the last class, it seems like. Final out for the Mariners. Here's Taylor.
I think a lot of it too, Aaron, comes down to if you look at today's game and just the overwhelming velocity at which these guys throw a baseball at. I think that there's a certain responsibility that comes with that.
To use your powers for good and not evil? Is that what you're saying?
Sort of. I mean, it's one thing. Look, it doesn't take much, and these guys are the best of the best, and they're all throwing 95 miles an hour, it seems to me. It doesn't take much for a pitch to get away from somebody and really do some damage to a hitter.
Sure.
And I think that a lot of the guys are aware of that, and that's why you see some of that out of the game.
Taylor down to his final strike.
And you and I were talking about it yesterday. You don't want to stand in there.
we had a very spirited 10-minute conversation about that, actually.
Well, it's true though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the reaction time that you have is
next to nothing.
Next to nothing. And you're so concentrating on trying to hit a baseball. Now all of a sudden, you really don't have much of a chance to protect yourself.
Do you think payroll has anything to do with that from a standpoint of when back in the 80s, early 90s, guys are making $150 million, and now you don't want to be throwing at a guy who's making that much? Is that
I don't think that they're thinking about that when they get between the lines.
Yeah.
I really don't.
This guy.
Yeah, I don't.
What's the balance sheet?
Yeah, I don't think that is something that they think about now.
Makes sense. A pop-up with 2 outs. Cincinnati foul Brown, and that'll be all she wrote for the series. The Diamondbacks get the sweep, and they get it today in pretty convincing fashion. And Mike, this game was surprising to see them get to Felix like they did.
That's unfortunate. It happens from time to time. Felix, one of the best pitchers around, but I think the first inning was tough on him. He gave up the 4 runs, and although he started to settle down, ends up giving up 7 earned runs. That we just don't see that from him, but it happens to even the best. We're talking about Randy Johnson. It happens to everybody from time to time. Unfortunately for the Mariners, it's coming off of them already losing 2 games to the Diamondbacks. You would have liked to have salvaged at least 1 game. You felt pretty good about it with Felix on the mound, but it just wasn't his day.
So that'll do it. The Mariners fall today by a final score of 8-2. Mariners postgame presented by Delta Airlines starts right now with Branham and Val. Guys, take it away.
Aaron, Mike, thank you very much. Yes, we've seen this too much this series. The D-backs get to celebrate on the field another